All right, Toby Ann Bergelson says, why are we asking for government for backup hospitals if we handled this pandemic properly? Okay, thank you, Toby. So the answer is very simply, we are always engaged in contingency planning for a worst case scenario. We are not in a worst case scenario, but I would call this responsible planning. And it was several months ago, the federal government said that provinces, if necessary, could call upon the Canadian Red Cross to establish field hospitals if we ever got into an extreme scenario where we needed additional beds, ambulatory beds. And I understand multiple provinces have just followed up to say, okay, what would be involved and how much equipment would be available? That's what I guess officials at AHS did. It's normal contingency planning. But let me be, unfortunately, I think some in the media may have tried to torque this. And I do regret that in so much of the COVID coverage and debate, there has been pretty consistently a kind of drive towards hysteria. We need to take this very, very seriously, all of us. And Lord knows the government of Alberta is. At the same time, we should not allow voices of panic and hysteria to drive people into a sense of despair. And that's why at the very beginning of this, I quoted the signage that went up around England during the Blitzkrieg during the Blitz of the Luftwaffe in 1940, where they put up signage saying, "Keep calm and carry on." Obviously, carrying on in this case means doing so within our public health guidelines and restrictions, but keeping calm is also important. No, we are not erecting field hospitals, but we we should in a pandemic environment have contingency plannings for extreme scenarios. Right now, we have a little over 500 people in hospital beds with COVID-19, about 100 of whom are in intensive care. This is in a system with 100 hospitals, 8,500 beds, where we demonstrated in the spring our ability to set aside as many as 2,400 beds, including 650 in ICU. So we would need to see a 400% or more increase in hospitalizations from current levels before we would need any surge or ambulatory kind of hospital setup such as that. And so it's up to us to make sure that we stay within the capacity by following the guidelines and the rules.